So one of the places to look for contracts is the government website, which is called Contract Finder. And if my team can let people in so I'm not seeing the notification. Thank you. So Contract Finder is one of them. So Contract Finder, you can create an account on here, for example, and you will get updates of what contracts are available and what is around. Now, there's various ways. Now, when I first started, I was looking at the lower value contracts because a lot of people think they can just go into this and go straight into something which is like 10 million. No, you can't. You have to make sure that you're applying for contracts which is for small to medium-sized enterprises. Now, what you also need to be thinking about is getting contracts with organizations as well that are already up and running, that have got contracts, that are willing to subcontract with you. Because when you're looking at applying for the larger contracts, the organizations, the buyers, you're the supplier because you're supplying your staff members to the buyer, to the contract, to deliver the service, for example. You need to be able to show that you can provide 3 references, that you've got a proven track record of delivering a service. And this is the same for when you're applying for CQC. If you have not had any managerial experience, you've not managed a care service, for example, before, then this is one way for you to get used to doing it without CQC registration. You can run a nursing agency, a recruitment care agency, without CQC registration because you're providing staff members into care homes as well as into NHS hospitals who are already regulated, registered with the Care Quality Commission. So therefore, you don't need to register with the Care Quality Commission if you're providing staff on that basis because the organization is already regulated. So it doesn't make sense to send regulation upon regulation. Although being registered with the Care Quality Commission is the best badge of honor that you could have as a care organization, but you don't need to do that to run a recruitment care agency. And there's many people that have been successful that's ran a care agency before without CQC registration, and they've hit, 7 figures, and you too can potentially hit 7 figures in your business, but you want to start off with 6 figures. So for example, your first year, you may want to do 580,000, for example, and then you will increase as each year goes on because you're diversifying, you're adding more staff, you're increasing your turnover, but also you're increasing the services that you're providing as well. Okay, so think about the contracts. Like when I first started, I was looking at the lower value contracts, and then I was building up to the point of 5,000 hours a week, for example. And that's what you can do as well. So on Contract Finder, they do lower value contracts as well as higher value contracts. So try and look for value contracts which are under, say, 118,000, for example. And then when you want to go for the higher one, then go for ones for 118,000 or more, providing that that it says suitable for SME. Then there's no reason why you can't apply for that contract as well. So just bear that in mind. I was doing multiple small contracts, and that built up to me having a large turnover, for example, and same for clients as well. So I'm just going to press the start button here on Start Now on Contract Finder, and you will see. So like I said in my previous slide, Contract Finder lets you search for contracts for information about contracts worth over £10,000 with the government and its agencies. You can use Contract Finder. And here we've got keywords, which I'll be putting in shortly, which is health support worker, recruitment agency, nursing agency, home care agency, supported living, enablement. So you're looking at keywords that the buyer, it could be the NHS, It could be a group of care homes, for example. It could be private sector, large organizations, groups of organizations that are using keywords in order to find you, but also you've got to put keywords in to find them. And then you're going to meet up and you'll see their contracts that they're looking to tender. And then you're going to submit your interest for that tender. And then you're going to submit the documents that are required, as well as answer the tender questions. And sometimes there'll be a list of, say, 6 questions. Sometimes it could be 30. It depends who the buyer is, what the criteria is, and how they're going to evaluate as well. Okay, so in terms of the questions, they look at questions which can add up to 100, and you have to at least meet what the criteria is. They may say that you must pass a score of, say, 51 or more in order to be successful in getting that contract. So I'm just going to click the link here, and like I said, I'm going to put the keywords in, and you will use different keywords according to your organization. I'll just make sure that you can see my screen. So I'm now on Contract Finder. I'm also going to put this link into the chat box. So if anyone wants to practice along with me. Hi, Speewee. Hi. Okay, so that is now in the chat box. Now, this is the Contract Finder web page here. That's what I showed you on the presentation slide as well. And I'm going to press Start now. And this will take me to their page. And I'm going to put some keywords in. And you can put whatever service you're doing. If you're doing supported living, then you would put supported living. And you can put dynamic purchasing system, which will then enable you to meet with clinical commissioning groups, for example. And the dynamic purchasing system, I'll go through that shortly. And that is a way for you to be able to apply for contracts. You've got to apply to get onto their DPS, which is the dynamic purchasing system. And that is for you to provide a service to the buyer. And these contracts are available on a regular basis. So it's not like you have to wait 3-4 years, for example. You can apply anytime. And that's what the advantages of being a small to medium-sized enterprise, that you're able to apply for contracts at any time of the year. So I'm just going to put in here some keywords. So I'm going to do healthcare, supported living, depends what I'm doing. I'm going to put mental health support. You can put home care if you're doing home care. You can also put in enablement. What other words could you use? That's the thing you've got to think about. Write down all of the keywords that the service that you're providing, but also the buyer is looking for. So I'm going to put recruitment. I'll even put international recruitment. I'm going to put medical staffing. I'm going to put clinical. I'm going to put non-clinical, clinical staff. Okay. I'm putting all locations because I want to see all of the locations, but you can put it according to region or postcode and then branch out from there. You can do regions next, and you can do all locations. But